There is a man sitting in a small room in San Francisco, 1965. He is short. He is quiet. Around him, a handful of young Americans have come to sit on the floor in silence. They are not monks. They do not know what they are doing. He watches them. Then he says something so simple it takes years to understand. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. In the expert's mind, there are few. That sentence is the whole book. This is a read-aloud summary of Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind by Shunryu Suzuki. It was published in 1970, and it has not aged a day. Tonight, it might be exactly what you need. If you want one of these every week, subscribing takes one tap. Here is what most people never admit. The longer they practice something, the more they stop seeing it. The musician who played beautifully at 19 plays technically at 40. The person who fell in love with cooking learns the recipes by heart and stops tasting. We call this mastery. Suzuki calls it a loss. We fill our minds so completely with what we already know that nothing new can get in. We stop being curious. We become, in the worst way, experts on our own lives. This book is about how to undo that. Not through 10 steps. Not through a breakthrough. Through sitting quietly, breathing, and staying new. The book moves through 3 territories: how to practice, how to hold the right attitude while practicing, and finally, how to understand what practice actually is. But Suzuki would not want you to think of these as stages to pass through. They are more like 3 angles on the same thing. He is always, in every chapter, talking about one idea: how to be here, fully, without the weight of everything you think you already know. The door has no eye. The first thing Suzuki teaches is posture. This sounds like the least interesting place to start. It is not. Sit with your spine straight, he says. Not rigid. Straight. Your ears and shoulders on one line. Your hands forming a soft oval in your lap, thumbs barely touching, as if you were holding something fragile. And he says, this posture is not preparation for the right state of mind. This posture is the right state of mind. That is a strange claim. Most of us separate the container from the content. We think posture is just the body. Suzuki says the body and the mind are not 2 separate things. When you slump, your mind slumps with it. When you sit upright, you are already expressing something true about yourself without needing to think it first. Then comes breathing. He says when you breathe in, air comes into the inner world. When you breathe out, it goes to the outer world. But there is no real border between them. Your throat is just a swinging door. And then the sentence that opens something. What we call I is just a swinging door which moves when we inhale and when we exhale. You do not breathe. Breathing happens. There is no you separate from the breath, commanding it. The moment you think, I am breathing, you have added something extra that was not there. Just the breath. Just the door, swinging. This is the open loop Suzuki plants in the first pages and never lets go of. Who is the I that is practicing? Come back to that question later. What to do with the weeds? Here is something Suzuki says that surprises people the first time they hear it. When you sit in Zazen, thoughts will come. Distractions will come. Worries, plans, memories, arguments you had 3 years ago. You cannot stop them. He says, do not try to stop them. Do not fight them. Do not try to drive them out. Just let them come and let them go. He uses a farming image. These thoughts are like weeds in the garden. You should not be upset by them. They come up. They are part of the soil. The rich mind, like rich soil, produces weeds. What you do is simply notice them and return to the breath, again and again, not as failure, as the practice itself. This is harder than it sounds, because we are trained to believe that success means the absence of distraction. Suzuki says that is exactly wrong. Every time you notice you have drifted and returned to the breath, that moment of noticing is the practice. That is the point. You are not failing when your mind wanders. You are practicing when you come back. He says, when you are disturbed by something, that is the warning. It means you have grabbed onto a fixed idea and cannot let go. The trouble is not the distraction. The trouble is the grip. There is something you could try tomorrow morning. When a thought arrives that wants to pull you somewhere else, do not fight it. Say quietly to yourself, "There it is," then return. That is all. That is the complete practice. The frog who knows nothing. In part 2, Suzuki's tone becomes warmer. He starts telling stories. His favorite image is a frog. There is a famous Zen exchange. A student named Baso is sitting in Zazen, working very hard, hoping to attain enlightenment. His teacher Nangaku watches him, picks up a tile, and begins polishing it. Baso asks, "What are you doing?" Nangaku says, "I want to make this tile into a jewel." Baso says, "That's impossible." Nangaku says, "How is it possible to become a Buddha by practicing Zazen?" And then, which do you whip, the cart or the horse? Suzuki loves this story because it punctures the most common mistake, practicing with a goal in mind. The moment you sit down thinking, "I will achieve something here," you have already stepped out of the present moment and into a future you are trying to build. You are whipping the cart. The frog, Suzuki says, has no idea of Zazen. He just sits. Something comes along. He eats it. He is not trying to be a better frog. He is just completely frog. And that completeness, that total occupation of the present moment, is exactly what humans are always reaching for and always missing. When you become you, Zen becomes Zen. This is not a mystical statement. It is a practical one. You know the feeling of being completely absorbed in something, cooking without thinking about the meal, talking with someone and forgetting to check your phone. That total presence. Suzuki is saying that is not an accident. That is what the practice points toward. Not achievement, not enlightenment as a destination. Just being here, so completely that there is no leftover you watching from the side. And the effort to get there cannot be forced. He says the best way to control a cow is to give it a large, spacious meadow, not a smaller cage. You do not achieve presence by clenching. You achieve it by releasing your grip on where you think you should be. The moment that already contains everything. Here is where Suzuki becomes most difficult to summarize and most essential to hear. He says, "We live as if we are moving through time from past to future, but look more carefully. The past does not exist right now. The future does not exist right now. What exists is only this moment, and within it, everything that matters is completely present." He tells of a Japanese poem written by a woman whose husband had been sent away, possibly to his death. She wrote, "Just as you unreel thread from a spool, I want the past to become present." And Suzuki says, when she wrote that, she made the past present. In her mind, the past became alive, as if time ran backward from the present into what was. His point is not poetic nostalgia. It is this. The present moment is not a thin slice between what was and what will be. It contains everything. When you are fully here, you are also touching everything that brought you here. You are touching all of it at once. This is why he says, we should not practice in order to attain enlightenment later. We should attain enlightenment before we attain enlightenment. The effort itself, made fully, in this moment, is the arrival, not the preparation for it. There is a Zen poem he quotes. After the wind stops, I see a flower falling. Because of the singing bird, I find the mountain calmness. You do not see the stillness until something moves within it. The calmness was always there. The flower falling is how you find it. Nothing special, which is everything. Near the end of the book, Suzuki delivers the line that makes people read it again from the beginning. He says that if you continue simple practice every day, you will obtain a wonderful power. But before you attain it, it seems wonderful. After you attain it, it is nothing special. It is just you yourself. He offers a Chinese poem. I went and I returned. It was nothing special. The mountains are famous for their mist. The water is famous for covering the earth. But if you go there, you just see water and mountains. Nothing special. This is not disappointing. This is the point. We spend enormous energy building toward experiences we imagine will transform us. Enlightenment as a thunderclap. Understanding as a sudden flood of light. Suzuki says it does not work like that. What works is so ordinary, it is invisible until you are inside it. A mother with children finds having children nothing special. That normalcy, that complete integration into life, is exactly what it is. And here the open loop closes. Remember the swinging door? The I that is not really an I, but just a breathing? When you practice long enough, the question of who is practicing stops feeling urgent. Not because you have solved it, because you have stopped needing to solve it. The practice continues, and you continue, and the gap between those two things quietly disappears. There is just this: the breath, the posture, the moment. Suzuki's teacher had a callus on his forehead from bowing so often. He had joined his school late in life, at 32, and his master always called him the lately joined fellow. When he was 70, he said, "When I was young, I was like a tiger. Now, I am like a cat." He was very pleased to be like a cat. That is the whole book, not the tiger, the cat. Take nothing in particular from this tonight. Just notice what state your mind is in right now. That noticing, without any next step attached to it, is already the beginning of what Suzuki is describing. If something in this one stayed with you, drop it in the comments. I read every one, and a like helps more than you know.